Hello, friends, and it's time for a story. A story from dating hell. I'd tell you the user, but it looks like they deleted their account. This is worst date I've ever had. Booze, drugs, blood, and an accident. Oh, I don't know if I like where this is going. Let's get into this one, kids. This is a long read, but I assure you it's worth it. So this all happened a few years ago. Met a guy through some mutual friends while I was out drinking one night. For the purpose of this story, let's just call him Jim. That night, Jim and I got on like a house on fire. Had a great laugh, exchanged numbers, even had a bit of a kiss at the end of the night. We agreed to meet up a few days later for coffee, which came and passed without an issue. We had a lovely time. Over the next few weeks, we had a few day dates, and although I enjoyed his company and always had fun, there was something in the back of my mind that kept telling me that something isn't quite right here. For example, he was quite forgetful. He'd often had to think hard about what my name was before saying it. Or if we'd arranged to meet, he'd text or call 6 or 7 times beforehand saying, "So we're meeting today at like 1 p.m., yeah?" Almost like it was the first time he'd ask, but every single time. I mentioned it in passing to the friend that had initially introduced us. She then came out with a, "Oh yeah, I didn't tell you, did I? Jim was in a massive car accident a few years ago. He was in a coma for a while. He had to learn how to walk and talk and drive and do everything again. He was quite seriously brain damaged, but he seems okay now, right?" I agreed that apart from the forgetfulness, I'd not seen anything that caused me any concern. Next time I spoke to him, I mentioned that I knew and that we just went on from there. At this stage, we'd had 3 or 4 dates, and I liked him. We got to the point where we wanted to spend some proper alone time together. He'd been living with his parents since his accident, and I still lived at home, so we really didn't have much of an opportunity for privacy. We decided that we'd book a hotel for the night one Saturday. So the night came around. We decided we'd have a few drinks in the room and then head into town center for a few more drinks. He brought a couple of bottles of red wine, which I declined. He got stuck in nonetheless, and things got a bit steamy. I didn't realize just how quickly this wine was going down. By the time we were ready to head into town, no two ways about it, he was hammered. I discovered afterwards that due to all the brain injuries he sustained in his car crash, he was not meant to drink anything at all. A few sips of wine to him were the equivalent of a whole bottle to someone else. Uh-oh. I tried to persuade him that going to town and drinking more was not exactly the sensible thing to do, but he was not having it. On the walk into town, he behaved like a total liability, shouting loudly at other pedestrians, shouting loudly at me. I had to stop him from hugging people on the street. I was mortified. We were turned away from pretty much every bar we went to in town, made all the more mortifying by the fact that it was only 7:30. After half an hour or so, I gave up and said that we should just go back to the hotel. But as we were walking, we passed another bar. He decided we should go in, as his friend was probably DJing, and I reluctantly agreed. This bar has a reputation in our town for being a bit of a drug den. It was always playing heavy house music at massive volume. Not really my thing at all, honestly. Miraculously, we were not turned away, and then he ordered the biggest bottle of champagne behind the bar. We went and sat on a sofa for a few minutes, and he told me that he was going to find his friend. I sat on this sofa alone for nearly half an hour, just a bottle of champagne for company. Not so bad, I guess. Feeling totally out of my comfort zone. When eventually he'd returned, he sat next to me and said, "Here, have this," whilst pressing an ecstasy tablet to my hand, and then wandered off again. He just fucking wandered off, found drugs, and came back. Oh, well, isn't he interesting? I considered throwing it on the floor or giving it to someone else, but I thought, what the hell, might as well try and salvage some fun out of the night. Things can't get much worse, can they? Oh, how wrong I was. After another 40 minutes or so, still sitting by myself, Jim returns once more. I'm feeling pretty good by now, about ready for a dance. And he said, I think these pills are shit. I took like 6 of them and I don't feel anything. What? At that moment, any good feeling I had drained away completely. 6. He took 6. Oh god, this is not going to go well. Feeling pretty sober, I decided it was time for us to leave. Although Jim claimed that the ecstasy wasn't affecting him at all, his mannerisms suggested very much otherwise. He was shaking all over, yearning like nobody's business, and could barely string a sentence together. We started the walk back to the hotel. As we were walking along the high street, he decided that he needed to pee. He went off down a side street, and I told him I'd wait at the top of the road. I waited. After 15 minutes, he still hadn't come back. So I started walking down the side street that he had gone down looking for him. I found him about halfway down, trousers undone, shoes missing, face absolutely covered in blood. Oh my god. My first thought was that someone had attacked him. But I eventually got out of him that he lost his balance while peeing, smashed his face against the wall. There's also a certain aroma about him. Yeah, he'd shit himself. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my god. I found his shoes a bit further down the road, wiped as much of the blood off of his face with my jumper as I could, and set about carrying him to get some help. In our town, there's a volunteer ambulance service called the SOS bus, parked on the high street every Friday and Saturday night. They help hammered people with water, and help them if they're too hurt or smashed to get home. At the SOS bus, one of the nurses cleans up the cut on his face. She could clearly smell that he'd crapped his pants, and keeps asking, have you, had an accident, love? To which his only reply was, yeah, I hit my face. Oh no. We eventually got clearance to leave, got in a taxi back to the hotel. As soon as we got back, he locked himself in the bathroom and refused to come out for a good hour and a half. All the while, I can hear water running and him shouting from inside. At one point, he did open the door, completely naked, covered in blood yet again. His supremely wrecked state, he'd slipped and hit his head again, which I then had to clean up, trying to avoid the shit-stained pants and trousers he'd left on the floor. The rest of the night was spent with me curled up in a corner of the bed, fully clothed, and him switching between trying to have sex with me again and walking around the room, trying not to be sick. Oh my god. In the morning, I woke him up early and said that we had to leave. He claimed, or at least tried to claim, I don't know if he was just trying to save face, that he had no recollection of what happened the night before, and kept asking me what I'd done to his face and why his clothes were dirty. I reached the end of my rope by that point and asked him to just drive me home. We drove home in silence for a few minutes before he said, actually, I'm just going to drop you off here. Your house isn't on my way, so it's out of my way. At which point he pulled into a car park of a local supermarket. I said nothing, just got out of the car. He pulled away pretty quickly as well. I had to get a taxi home from the car park of the supermarket. If you ask me, that was the final kick in the teeth. I'd only heard from him a few times after that. I had a few angry phone calls from him claiming that I had forced the drink and drugs on him and that the huge cut on his head was my fault. Then a number of angry texts asking why I told everyone that he'd done all those drugs. I actually only told a few of his close friends, as the whole thing was pretty concerning. After that, I cut all contact and haven't spoken to him since. Oh my god, that... oh my god! That right there has to be the worst date. Yeah, you know, I've had my number of bad dates in the past, but I don't think I've ever gone out with someone who randomly got high off of enough ecstasy to knock out several grown human beings and then shit themselves in the process. Oh my god. I fucking can't, man. Like, I can't imagine, like, being out with someone that you, even someone you know, like, they said that OP says that they kind of know this person. Like they've been talking for a little while. But seriously, think about that. You're only just kind of getting to know someone. You think that, like, hey, this will be a good night out to have fun, you know, maybe a little more, you know, maybe a little intimacy, maybe a little something will happen. They say they have to go off to take a leak, and you find them shoesless, knocked out, and they shit themselves in the process. Like, I can't even. I fucking can't. Like, how this... I don't know, man. How OP stayed in the same room with this dude is incredible. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, if it had been me, I'd have just eaten the bill, taxied my way home, and been done with it. I couldn't stay in a place with somebody who's obviously that messed up, and shit just kept getting weirder and weirder from there out. Pun absolutely intended. But that's the end of this story, so I hope you all learned a valuable lesson about dating and staying away from the weirdest shit. Literally, in this case. I love you all so very, very much. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, subscribe. I have a Ko-Fi to donate money to, and I have a merch store if you want to do the same thing, except also get like a t-shirt or something in the process. I sell bath mats. I don't know why. I just can. There's also a live stream every Saturday if you'd like to hang out with me while I do this, but also live. And if you have your own story to send me, any kind of story, I read anything, send it to my subreddit, r/Moonhorse Stories. Thank you all once more for being here, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. I love you all. Goodbye!